Good morning. Only 22 students are there. Ten twenty is already started. Now still only 26 students are there. Yes, good morning. Some students are wishing me good morning. Good morning to all those who are wishing me. And those who are not wishing me also from my side, the good morning to you all. Okay, ready? Can we go? Can we start? Okay. Are you ready now? Okay. So we have studied the reign of terror and the directory of this. The France became under the directory. Then last we have seen that is the France. Then there was a clash between the that is the directory and the elected government. So that the government suspended the elect that is the directory. Then what happened finally? That the power has been taken over by the military person called Napoleon Bonaparte. And then Napoleon Bonaparte took over the country. Now that we stopped, understood. So the revolution of France that has been finished now. Now the France has been taken over by Napoleon Bonaparte. How the Napoleon handled the country and what are the renovations or the changes he has made, that we will study after some time. But now let the France be in the hands of Napoleon Bonaparte. Will stop for a time being, and in between we need to study and another thing that is a very important thing which we need to discuss. For the time being, we stop those what happened to France under Napoleon. After this, we'll study. So now the next for the section is for the did women have revolution. So what we are going to study today are so the women in the France they were very strong, and now I told you that is in the yesterday's class also I had given a light introduction about this. When the men voluntarily had gone out to fight against the Prussia and Austria, these movement were the people who were managing the entire home affairs. Now, many women they were doing the different job like the washermen and washerwomen and the laundries. They run the laundries and they did so many vegetable selling, like so many odd job and all they did, and they managed the family. And the women or the girls in the rich family, so they had been given education and they were the civilized because they are the protected people. They had been given education, and when they attain the age of marriage, the parents will find a partner for them and they get into marry and lead a family life. That was a condition of the girls at the aristocrats or the girls of the higher class. But most of these women in the lower strata, lower category of the society, so they used to do different kind of job. So some of them they are worked as a waitress, some of them are worked as a housemaid, and the different odd job they did it. And now these are the general thing about we are going to study. And after that, what happened is so during this one, and they were even they had when the king was executed, many people had started the political party that is called political club. Even many women had also started political party, and their main demand was they also wanted the equal right like men. So, on the 1791 Constitution, we have seen 1791 Constitution. We have seen what they did. So, they reduced the woman as a passive citizen. So, those who doesn't have, those who are not paying tax to the government, they are called the passive citizen. So, those people who are not giving the tax and the women were made in one group that is called the passive citizen. The women, even though they had their own contribution on their own level, but still they have been put down as a category of passive citizen, which women uh, do not want. And now, so these are the general situation of the women we have seen. They were very strong enough. And now the condition of the women in the upper class also we studied. And now many women had started the political group and they demanded equal right men like men. Equal right like men. They asked, they demanded. Now, then what happened is at the time of reign of terror, what happened is and these many governments and they are down, so they do not go to the school and all. They normally they do some kind of odd job, and those revolutionary government they made so many rules for the benefit of the women. First thing, the women education has been made compulsory. All women are just like we study the RTE in India. The children below the age of 14 from 6 onwards, 6 age onwards, it is the education has to be, they have the right to get education. It is the duty of the government to provide education for them. That's called compulsory education, RTE, right to education. In the same way, those time that is the revolutionary government has made all girls had to take part. They have to go to the school, and the schooling has been made compulsory. And now, so then another thing that what they did. So now another rule that they made: no woman will be married against their will. Normally what happens is many of the parents they find a partner for the child and they say you marry him, and the boy is taken according to the interest of parents. The girl doesn't have any voice to say no, I don't want this man, or I don't want to be. Maybe the girl may be around 20 years, maybe the man who is going to marry her maybe 40 years. So maybe that is the girl may be very smart, beautiful, and the person who is going to marry her may be totally an ugly person. And even if those situation comes, the girl who doesn't have the power to say no to the marriage. Earlier it wasn't there. Now they made a law. No, no parents can marry off their daughters against their will. Only when they say yes, then only they can just marry that with the particular person. The son. And another one, the divorce also made legal. If two people had joined together and at any cost that they cannot go get along together, both of them are totally of the opposite views, and both the partners, the husband doesn't like the wife and the wife doesn't like the husband, and still they are together and they have to stay together till the end of the life, it will be difficult. So, as per the major religion in France was Christianity. Mainly that was a Catholic. So, as per the Christian rule, so the divorce is not allowed. Divorce is not allowed. So the divorce is allowed only on certain situation. That is, the partner is mentally unfit, or if the partner has got an illegal relations. So these are the only one or two situations where they can get, or the church will allow the that is a divorce. Otherwise, it's not there. Otherwise, even if the husband is a drunkard and he used the wife, till they cannot go for a divorce. They have to adjust and go here. That's a policy. But this revolutionary government has made a new rule. So if the partner, the woman, doesn't want to lead a life with the present husband, she can go for a divorce. Divorce become a legal. Now, beside this one, the women have been given the training for job. Schooling has made compulsory, and now the women have even been given the training for job. So all these things had been done during this period. So this is what we are going to study in the section for the did women have a revolution. So now let us take page number 18. Now let us read it. So I told you these are things which we are going to study in this section. Now, from the very beginning, women were active participants in the events which brought about so many important changes in the French society. Though many changes had been taken place in the French society, the women had played a very important role in bringing the changes in the society. They hoped that their involvement would pressurize the revolutionary government to introduce measures to improve their life. So why they have taken an active participation in revolution in all area related with this? Because they understood. So their presence, their active involvement may pressurize the revolutionary government or the coming government to make the step in favor of them. That is the reason they have taken active participation. And what was the condition of the women? Most of the women of the third estate had to work for living. Most of the women in the third estate, they are working. They have to work for making livelihood. They worked as what job they did. They worked as that is seamstress, that is laundress. So they sold flowers, fruits, and vegetables at the market, or were employed as domestic servants in the house of the prosperous people. So they worked as the that is a washwoman. They worked as a tailor. They sold the flowers. They worked as the fruit sellers. They worked as the vegetable sellers, and some of them even worked as the housemaid in the rich people. Most women did not have an access to education or job training. Mainly the women in the third estate did not have any education and no job training. But whereas only the daughters of the nobles or the wealthier members of the third estate could study the convent. Even who are the people who could go for education? The upper class people of the third estate. We have studied in the previous class. There is a new group has been emerged in the third estate. Upper class people, middle class people. Their daughters and the daughters of the aristocrat. They used to go to school and even they had a better education. They used to go to the convent school, after which their families arranged the marriage for them. And even those girls getting education, what they did, they the next step is for getting married. That is, and the parents arrange the marriage for them. Working women had also to care for their families, that is cook, fetch water, queue up in the bread, and look after the children. Even the women in the third estate who were working outside as the laundress, vegetable sellers, fruit sellers, and they have to look after the house also. Like for example, today, even your mother is working in the office, so you that they used to they work in the office and they come, and suppose the father also working in the same office, and both of them they come together. What would be the situation I'm talking about generally? And the father will come and sit and switch on the TV. But whereas mother, as soon as she comes, she change the dress, she get into the kitchen, and she has to make the roti and other work, other things for the family members. So I'm talking about in every family. It is not like that, but I'm telling that is some of the general case. In the same way, those women. So even after working outside as a vegetable seller, fruit seller, laundress, and all these things, when they come after finishing the work, they have to be in the queue to buy the bread. They have to do all the rest of the housework at family home, and their wages were lower than those of men. Even those women who were working in one place, that is, their wages were less. So, what does it mean? So, we can understand the society in France also a male dominated society. So now here you need to write the question, what was the condition of women? Write the question, what was the condition of women in France? Write the question, what was the condition of women? What was the condition of women in France? So here you need to write the woman in the third estate and the woman in the upper class too. So now the next paragraph. In order to discuss and voice their that interest, women started their own political club and the newspapers. So the women are not less than the men. They understood in order to listen their voice by the male members, or the new revolutionary government has to listen the needs and the demands of the women. They had their own political club, political party, and even they had their own newspapers too. About 60 women's club came up in different French cities. So 60 SAD 60 political clubs which is led by the women, had come up in the different cities of France. The Society of the Revolutionary and the Republican Women was the most famous of them, and different political party led by the women emerged around 60. Among them, two political parties of the women were very famous. That is the first one, the Society of the Revolutionary and the Republican Women. These were the two famous political party led by the women. The main demands of these people was that women enjoy the same political right as men. So the different political party had been led by the women and separate political party for the women. And what was their main demand? They want equality like men. All the benefit, what all the benefit or political benefit I'm talking about? What are the political benefit or the preferences are enjoyed by the male, and all those benefit has to be given to the female. That was their main demand. Men, women are were disappointed that the constitution in 1791 reduced them to the passive citizen. I told you. So the constitution made in 1791, they made the two type of citizens to vote, to be elected to the assembly and hold the political office. The women also demanded two things. And the first thing, they need to get the right to vote, and they need to get the right to conduct the election, and they also want to be the part of government. And these were the demands of the women. Only then they felt would their interests be represented in the new government. So when the new government comes, so just in case if the voice of the woman has to be taken seriously, taken care of, there should the woman has to get the voting right, and they should be elected, and they should be the part of government. And these were the demands of the women. So now you write the question: what are the demands of the women? What are the demands of women? Write down. Now, in the early years, the revolutionary government did introduce laws that helped to improve the lives of the women. In early years, the revolutionary government did introduce laws that helped to improve the lives of the women. I told you the revolutionary, the introduction, today's introduction class also I told you there are many steps have been taken by the revolutionary government to improve the condition of the women. Divorce become legal. All women that has been made education compulsory. No parents can force the girl to marry the person whom they want. Without their consent, they cannot get married. So, and they have been given education. They have been given training for the job. This is what we are going to study. So, together with the creation of the state school, schooling was made compulsory for all girls, just like today's RT. So the schooling for the girl children that has been made compulsory by which government? By the revolutionary government. The others could not no longer force them into marriage against their will. Their parents cannot force them to marry the person which with whom they don't like. Or suppose the girl wants to doesn't want to get married at this age, particular age of 20, and the parents are forcing. No, the parents cannot force, and the parents want to marry this girl to another person which parents find is good, and if the girl doesn't like, they cannot force. And now, and another one, and the marriage was made into the contract entered into freely and registered under the civil law. Any marriage take place, that has to be registered under the government law. So अगर एक ऐसे नहीं एक बार शादी किया तो that they cannot just run off. No, but that is this an account. Who are all getting married, the proper account that has to be registered. Now, divorce was made legal in case if any woman who doesn't want to stay with the partner and is not able to cope up with that person, so they can apply for divorce, and the divorce has been made as a legal one and could be applied for the women and men, and this is for not only for men and the female both. Women could now train the job and could do some artist or run small business. Now the women have been done. Sorry, women have been given the training for the job. Now they can do any job or they can do any small business. So now write a question. Name the step taken by the revolutionary government. Write the question. Name the step taken by the revolutionary government. Name the step. So I think that some of you may not have taken the pencil, and every time that you need this compulsory, you need to take the pencil and you need to write the question where I am reading. So the answer, because what does it mean? The answer is lying over there. Name the step taken by the government. Name the step taken by the government to improve the condition of women. Now name the step taken by the revolutionary government. Name the step taken by the revolutionary government to improve the condition of women. Question I cannot type and give, just I am dictating, you just write down and write the question in the textbook, not in the copy. So the earlier question was what were the demands of the women, and second one, that is name the steps taken by the revolutionary government for the betterment of women. So now the women struggled for equal political right. Then what happened? That is when the reign of terror time. What happened? Robespierre, he was not happy with the women coming forward with the more demands and all. One what he did, no, he just tried to just remove or just to destroy those women. And many of the women were arrested and executed, and many of the women are exiled. That's what we are going to study. Women's struggle for equal political rights, however, continued. During the reign of terror, the new government issued laws ordering the closure of women club and banning their political activity. The reign of terror time, Sir Robespierre has made the order. So they said no woman can have the political party and no women have the right to enter into this political activity. Their political party also banned and their political activity also banned. Many prominent women were arrested and a number of them executed. Many women leaders were arrested, and some of them were executed. Women movement, I suggest here this also you can write a question. Uh, Explain about the Robespierre's attitude towards the women's political club. Explain about. Explain about. Explain about Robespierre's attitude. Explain about Robespierre's attitude towards women club. Women club. Women movements for voting rights or equal wages continued through the next 200 years in many countries of the world. So here, not only in France, many countries that they changed it into the political changes had been taken place. Women had tried to get equal right or equal the voting right like men. So now in India, when the 1947 we become independent, along with the independence that we have given the voting rights to the women, and those country, that is France, they started much before it. That is they have taken even the revolutionary political party also many steps they have taken to just get the voting power for women, and they got voting power many years after the Indian woman has got the voting power. We got in 1960, 1947, and in the France, if my memory is correct, so they got the voting power in 1960 something, that period. Okay. So the demands for the voting for the women or the equal right for the women that continued all over the world many years. The world. The fight for the vote was carried out through the international suffrage movement during the late 19th and early 20th century. So the fight to get the voting power. So in order to get the voting power, So the women movement was very strong and they tried their level best. That continued in 19th century as well as in the beginning of 20th century. So I would like to ask a question. What is the beginning of 20th century? A simple math. I would like to explain. 1 and 2. 1, when we say the 1, finish. 1.1 is a part of 2. 1.3 is the part of 2. 1.5 is the part of 2. 1.59 is a part of 2. Then 2 reaches, then 2 finish. Then 2.1 is a part of 3. In the same way, 20th century, in the beginning, that means 1900 onwards, that starts the 20th century. Understood? So 19th century onwards, the 20th century starts. Now, so this continued in the 19th century as well as in the beginning of 20th century. And we in India, so we got that voting right for women when we become independent. But in France and all, they got much later. So, for example, the political activities of the French women during the revolutionary years was kept alive and inspiring memory was and finally in 1946 the women in France won the right. I made a mistake. So it was in 19 it was on 1967 and they got 1946 they got the right to vote. Not in 1967, 1946 they got the voting power. Maybe just around after 200 years of their continuous struggle to get the voting power. In 1946, they got the voting power. Understood? So, in this section, what we studied, what was the role of women and what was the condition of the women in the France. Understood? This is what we studied. The question which I given, please do it today itself. Now, this is over. Now, we are again going back to the our previous topic. The France was taken over by whom? The France was taken over by Napoleon Bonaparte. When we talk about the Napoleon Bonaparte, so he was a soldier, but his height was very less, and he was from a very poor family, and he had suffered a lot in his childhood. So normally, one thing is very clear. Generally, what my observation, the children from a rich family, it is very difficult to achieve anything in their life. What is the reason? Because they never experienced or felt what is hungry, what is the shortage, what are the shortcomings, because everything they enjoyed and they never felt the lack of anything. But the people from the lower society, lower area, no, naturally, they had suffered humiliation, they suffered shortage of money, they suffered hungry, they suffered many things in their life. So now those people who had gone through the tough period in their childhood, they definitely they had a far sighted vision and they achieved. And many of the leaders even today, and many of the leaders who had come to the higher level in the society, most of them, not everyone I'm talking about, I can say 90 percentage of those people who had come to the higher levels or the main top leaders in this world, so they are the people who had come from the lower level, because the childhood itself they experience the reality of the life, shortage of the life, shortcoming of the life, पैसे के कमी उनको जस्ट एक्सपीरियंस, जो खाने का कमी उनको एक्सपीरियंस किया है. So that is समाज में they were always kept in the lower level, and those people had a strive to achieve more than those children who enjoy all benefit in the life. And this is for your information. I'm talking to you, and just now a general topic which I discussed now. So only those people who experience a tough time in their childhood and they achieve many things. So all the best. And now we will start with the next one, abolition of this one, and then only abolition of this one and the revolution of the everyday life. Only two things are left to finish this chapter. Okay, all the best. Study well. Now I will wait for your feedback.